Happy Sunday, everybody. Today we're going to go over what it takes to feed a collection of 13 reticulated pythons, as well as check in on the eggs. We're about 10 days away from when those should start pipping, so we're going to be on egg watch here, and hopefully they hatch before I have to leave to go to Tinley. So let's jump right into it. So I like to lay all my feeders out first. So we got our freezer feeder. Grab some rabbits. 5, 6, 7, and we're gonna get a couple extra because some of them are small, and then grab some guinea pigs as well. 2, 6. All right, let's see what we got. If you guys don't want to see feeder rabbits and pigs and stuff, now would be a good time to skip ahead, but I'm going to show what we have for our menu for tomorrow. Okay, so what we have is we've got a large, medium, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small rabbits and a 3.5 pound pig, and then over here we have 4 rats and 4 guinea pigs. And all of that will thaw out overnight. And for organization, what I like to do is I always start on one side and I put the biggest food here, and then I work my way around. Obviously the pig is bigger, but it's very easy to tell that the pig is different than the rabbits. But the reason I do that is so I know my food size without really having to look at it. And some really good advice that I got in the past was you always start with your biggest feeder. That way, if, say, one of our animals decides that they don't want to eat, say if I were to start with all the small food and we get to where, you know, Juliet doesn't want to eat, but I don't have any small food item and I only have a big 3.5 pound pig, she would be able to take that. But, you know, in some instances there might be times where the food item might be too big, then you're in a predicament of you have a thawed food item with no animal big enough to eat it. So some good advice I got, I can't remember who it was, start with your biggest prey item and go downward. That way you already have animals that follow suit. So if you have an item, you can give it to the next animal if one refuses and you're still not out of range with what they can eat. So that's what we've got. Like I said, we've got 4 rats, extra large rats, and then 2 bags of 2 extra large guinea pigs as well. I like to vary up different types of food. I think it's good and healthy for them. And while we're at it, there's Elowen. Sorry, the light's kind of missed. There we go. Miss Elowen, we're going to go check on your eggs, honey. We're going to check on her eggs, as well as Miss Eve's eggs. We're going to check on your eggs too. And for those that have been watching, you will notice that the pads that I mentioned I was unsure of are in some of the bigger animals' enclosures. Again, like I said, I won't be feeding them on this, but I was pleasantly surprised they're not quite as absorbent, and they don't stick to things immediately when they get wet as I thought they would, so that's good news. Still being very cautious, and they're only with the big animals because, at least in my head, it seems like they have a better chance of, you know, getting it worked out if they do happen to get it snagged on a tooth when striking and stuff like that. So very cautious with it, but I am going to move forward and try to see how that works out. So while we're here, how about we run over and we'll check on the eggs. All right, let's get this opened up. You guys can't see me, but I'm not the important thing, so I'm gonna check on the eggs. And unfortunately, I knew about this, but it was probably news to you. We had one of our eggs go bad. We've lost that egg. There is some mold here, which I'm not worried about. We'll get some Lamisil powder on there to try and kill the mold. But our eggs are starting to dimple a little bit. Everybody's looking pretty good though. That is Elwyn and Solaire's clutch. And then in here, that is Eve and Baraka's clutch. Make sure you guys try and get you to see everything. Everybody's starting to dimple in. We're getting towards the end. And here in just a minute, we'll get out a flashlight and candle the eggs so you guys can see what they're looking like inside. But everybody else is looking pretty good, starting to dimple. But other than that one that we lost from Elwyn's clutch, everybody's looking pretty solid. Alright, so I'm trying to get you guys a good enough view. Hopefully you can see what's going on inside these eggs. So you can see here, we've got some good veins. Kind of see the baby in there. These eggs are looking pretty good. If you notice, Elwyn's eggs are much bigger than Eve's eggs are. I'm gonna go ahead and take the camera off the mount, I think. Suppose it'd help if I pointed you at the egg I'm shining on. There we go, that's one that kind of shows a little bit better. So, we're gonna leave them alone now. I apologize, I wasn't able to get as good of footage of the egg candling as I had hoped. I was struggling to do it with one hand in the camera and one on the light, and frankly, the eggs are more important than me being able to film them, so I didn't want the incubator open for a long time with me messing around trying to get a good shot. So I hope you enjoyed the shots that I was able to get. Wanted to show you guys, frankly, the volume of food that will be going out at any given point. And for what it's worth, the small rabbits, these are a smaller meal than normal. I've been giving them bigger meals, and then this week we're feeding lighter. Give them a break, give them a change. I like to change up food size as well as food type. So that's why there's rabbits, pigs, guinea pigs, rats. There's also quail in there and stuff like that. So variety is important in my opinion, and I highly recommend you give as much variety as you possibly can. Getting ready for Tenley coming up. There's gonna be, I am working on a big enclosure video. It will be a very in-depth video on the enclosures, what goes into them from making the aluminum parts, actually laser welding stuff together, before powder coat, after powder coat, the finishing products and stuff like that. So for those of you that are interested, that is in the works. It'll be a couple weeks out before I'm able to really do it and do it justice. And the last thing that I have for you guys, heartlandreptiles.com is actually up and running. If it's not up and running when this video releases, it will be in this week. So it's not perfect, so don't beat me up too hard, but it's up. We've got the clutches, the animals, some of the enclosure stuff, so it's up. It's going to continually improve like the YouTube channel and everything else, but we're making progress. So thank you all for spending your Sunday with me. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a great week. See you next week.